Well, hello, how are you? This is Gosia from Cosmic Agency, and today's video is another episode of Minitopics. And for those of you who are new to the channel, hello by the way, Minitopics is a series of little portions of conversations that I'm sharing with whoever from the crew that where maybe we're not big enough or developed enough, these portions of the conversations, to make it to its own separate video. They are very, very small, tiny portions of the conversations, which I still found interesting enough to share, because I have just this obsession. I want to share everything that is shareable with you, and this includes these little mini topics as well. And today we'll have several. First of all, there is a short mention by Athena about the Holistic Society. We made videos about the Holistic Society and how the concept of ethics ties in here. So there's going to be a question here from Robert. Also, something on topic of Antarctica and regressive extraterrestrial bases there. Short comment on Bob Lazar, what Athena thinks about Bob Lazar. Also, a short commentary on HAARP, and then Chronovisor of the Vatican Chronovisor, some supposedly an instrument that can see through time. So again, what does Athena think about that? Then very, very short commentary on Morgellons. Then also a part of the conversation between Athena and Robert about some technology, supposedly Russian, to neutralize the electronics. Then we go into Noe, the biblical character Noe, and if Athena knows anything about that character. Then a short conversation about the words I love you in Taygetan. Then cosmetics. How do they make their cosmetics on the ships? On the ship. And makeup, because they use makeup, creams, body lotions, and all that. And then there was a question, as a final question from someone in the English audience about the gamma waves. So for the full question, you have to wait. I'm going a bit fast, talking fast, because these are several different topics, and I don't want to take much of your time. So let's try to be as productive as possible, and let's start. So first, Holistic Society and ethics. It was mentioned in the Holistic Society series that we made a few months ago. That people on Earth need to change and adjust and develop their ethics, morality, and spirituality in order to be able to reflect that model of the Holistic Society from outside Earth. And here someone is asking Robert in the Spanish world, why can't you just share with us the vision of the Taygetan ethics? Because it was also said that concept is very subjective and can vary depending on the culture. So Athena here is responding. It's not that we don't want to. We have been giving you Taygetan ethics for 4 years. It's contained in all our opinions and our priorities. The Taygeta ethics is not something that is summarized in a video, nor is it something fixed. I will just be mentioning some set of rules that seem to be followed, and that is even said in the Holistic Society video. So what she's saying here is that you can actually feel and get a grasp of Taygetan ethics and their priorities throughout the videos, and there are quite a lot of videos to go through to get the grasp on that Taygetan and Svarunian ethics. And here she also says, well, and apart from that, it could be said that that topic would be a Holistic Society video number 3, perhaps. So that would be in progress. I'm not sure if we're going to get to that. We haven't done it yet. The topic of ethics as part of the Holistic Society video number 3. Let's see. That's that. Let's go to the next mini topic, which is about Antarctica. And this is where Robert was asking Dorkaler in the conversation about bases that are in Antarctica. And he was asking whether there are some positive races, extraterrestrial races, that have their bases there. So here Dorkaler responds. every non-human race with bases in Antarctica cooperates with the Cabal because it is a highly militarized zone, although officially that is denied. In short, Antarctica is a zone of joint extraterrestrial operations with the elite military arms of the Cabal and the three-letter agencies. It is the site with the largest number of spacecraft of all kinds on the ground and in subterranean bases. Any race operating from Antarctica will be cooperating with the Cabal. Although we do not know exactly how many races or what races there are there, we do know that there are contingents of Maitres, reptilians, including Dracos, tall whites, and orange, Malakak, among others of more human appearance. Because someone was saying that this is a no man's land, so very easy to set up an extraterrestrial base. Here Dorkalel says, the South Pole is not no man's land. It is highly militarized land, and that no man's land is only the official position that the nations give to the people, being that it is the worst place to put an extraterrestrial base for those who are against the controlling Cabal. So in short, it's all regressive ET races who have their bases in Antarctica. Okay, Bob Lazar. If you know anything about Bob Lazar, you will be curious to know what was the opinion here. I don't know who said it, I don't have it written down, but here the sentence is genuine. They just erased all his work history with them. Just like they can insert identities, photos, videos, the whole, life into the matrix, the same way they can erase it and take it out. Here, that person who, I'm not sure, I think maybe Athena, she says, I don't know if everything he says is true, but in general it is. He has always told the truth, and they don't believe him. And let's continue here with the topic of HAARP. And there was a question from Spanish audience, and the question is as follows. Could you ask a little more about solar radiation management and its multiple agendas interconnected with everything that is happening? And here Athena is responding, okay? All this, by the way, is translated from Spanish by me. So if there are some mistakes or whatever, that's on me. I was the translator of this. So Athena here responds, that is to do with agendas to control the sun. I have no information on that, nothing specific. I know about the sun itself, of course. And Robert is asking, climate engineering from the sun or with the sun? And Athena responds, not directly with the sun, no. The question here, Robert asks, how can they manage solar radiation? Athena responds, with the manipulation of the climate, with the seeding of clouds with chemicals that modulate the sun, the entrance of the sun to the earth. So yes, it can be done, and it is done. What I can say about that is that it is true, but not only. It is part of everything that has to do with geoengineering and climate control engineering. It connects with chemtrails and with HAARP and its more modern variants, because that old HAARP, it seems to me, works little or no longer. HAARP-type emissions, when detected by Toleka, our ship, do not come from the traditional HAARP sites that are known. They come from ships or military mobile installations. They are no longer huge antenna networks. That's old. They already mount HAARP on ships, airplanes, and on military vehicles the size of a military truck, like a Striker or LAV-25 Piranha, and they can be anywhere. All large governments have them. And to a limited extent, small ones. For example, the governments of Mexico, Colombia, or Argentina already have and already use this kind of technology, but always in conjunction with a power plant in a larger allied country. Very good, quite interesting. As you see, these are little pieces of information here and there that do not have enough to create a separate topic, but they have enough interesting pieces to share with you. So continuing with the mini topics for today is Vatican Chronovisor. If you don't know what this is, it is said to be a device that gives whoever is using it the ability to see through time. And I'm going to read this. This is from Wikipedia or somewhere like that on the internet. It says, although the existence of this device has never been proven, a 2002 book by Vatican priest Father Francois Brun says otherwise. According to Brun, the chronovisor was developed by Father Marcello Pellegrino Ernetti, a Benedictine monk. Ernetti supposedly kept the device secret until the early 1960s, when he confided in Brun and told him that 12 scientists, including the famous physicist Enrico Fermi and former Nazi scientist Werner von Braun, helped him build it. So here Robert is asking about the Vatican Chronovisor device and whether Athena thinks this is something legit. So Athena responds. The question is, do you know anything about that? And the answer is not much, because there is no way of knowing what machine it is. But if it is real, it would have to be a small portal. However, the way they describe how it works and what they see in the chronovisor, it doesn't make sense. Robert here comments, they say they can see the past with it, I think. And what a coincidence, this machine has seen and accepted as valid all the passages of the Bible. And here the Athena responds, which makes me feel that it is really just another Vatican story to introduce the concept in a controlled way to the human population. And there is no machine as such. And it's not that they don't have portals, which they do. They just don't say anything about what they actually do with them, much less how they work. So in my opinion, taking into account that I know how the portals work, and after contrasting what I know with what they say about the chronovisor, my conclusion is that it does not exist, and it is another manipulation of the Jesuits, as usual, because they are trying to introduce the concepts. They have been trying to introduce all these different concepts, but in a managed and controlled way by them. So that's that. I have nothing else on this topic. Let's continue to the next one. And here, I know a lot of people are asking about this. I don't have much, but I want to share the little that I have. And this is about Morgellons disease. And I know, quite a lot of people have this and they're asking how to treat this. I have just 2 paragraphs from Athena on this, so I will just read it. Morgellons is a bodily immune reaction to expel or remove the graphene from the body. The problem is mechanical on the skin, so the treatment does not have to be specific to Morgellons. Perhaps using strong magnets and EMPs would work, but I don't have the right answer, I'm sorry. It's just that from my point of view, it's more of what has already been said, that little or nothing can be done, like with the papayas. It's comparable to when you have a thorn of some plant inside your skin and you can't get it out. The body will encapsulate it in fibrous tissue and move it outward with subsequent pain, inflammation, and even skin infections. Morgellons has been around long before the papayas. But people also get graphene from chemtrails, water, and industrialized foods. And it is by design that they introduce it in some places and not so much in others. But the effect is similar to that of papayas, which we are also expecting the papayad people to develop Morgellons at any time. It goes hand in hand. By the way, papaya is my code word for try to imagine what, since censorship is quite heavy these days. Well, that's that. I'm sorry, I know you would like to have more on this topic, but that's all that was given to us in that conversation. Now, this topic is a bit technological. They will be talking about planes with Robert. Towards the end of the conversation, I myself, I'm a bit lost. I'm not sure what's being talked about because my head doesn't work in that area right here and right now in this incarnation. But I'm including this because I'm hoping that maybe it's of interest to someone. And since this was translated from Spanish, I'm hoping that I didn't make a lot of mistakes. So the question is this. Do you know anything about this technology that the Russians have? I don't know its name. That is capable of neutralizing the electrical aircraft, submarines, aircraft carriers. And Athena, here responds. It's easy to explain how it works. You mount a bunch of sensors on the nose of an aircraft, usually a Sukhoi 24 fighter bomber. Small interferometer type sensors, like those used by UFOs or ships to detect gravitational frequencies. Only in this case, it detects the energy frequencies of ships, aircraft, and enemy equipment. Because everything is electric, and everything electric works with frequencies. So it generates a beam of semi-directed energy. In parentheses, semi because it is dispersed not as a plasma weapon or laser weapon. So, beam of semi-directed energy of the opposite frequency to that of the enemy's equipment, thereby cancelling the flux or electrical flow. So even if they increase the power of their generators or whatever, the energy will not flow through the wires, stopping the enemy devices and machines. Another simple way to explain this is an EMP pulse that is not a single event, but a destructive on and off, on and off, on-off oscillation that maintains the EMP effect for the desired time. This is generated in external pods on the pylon of the aircraft. I'm not sure what the pylon is and if it's translated correctly. Actually, it was the same in Spanish, pilon. This is generated in external pods on the pylon of the aircraft. Okay, another aircraft that has this capability is the EA-18G Growler, F-18 variant. They are pushing that it is Russian technology that gives them superiority over the West. Now, they have it too. Testimony to the fact that they are controlled from below by the same people. Now, that's an EA-18G Growler, fueling a KC-135 Pegasus. In the circles are countermeasure and EMP pulse generators like the ones I described. Growler. Notice that it has small propellers up front. Those drive the wind generator systems, which power the EMP generators and the capacitors that feed them. This is because the generators on the base aircraft, F-18F basically, can't handle the electrical load. It is worth mentioning that EA-18G has two external long-range tanks on the pylons closer to the fuselage and two AIM-9F Sidewinder air-to-air heat-seeking missiles. Here I got lost. I'm not sure if I translated this correctly. I hope you understand. The question from Robert, electrical load of the aircraft itself? The answer here, the aircraft's electrical generators do not power the pulsed EMP system. Countermeasures. On the pylon, on the left side of the picture, you have an AIM-120 AMRAAM medium to long range air AIM-120. And on the right, it does have an AIM-9F sidewinder or sidewinder. The AIM-120 AMRAAM is newer. That last paragraph, I hope you can decipher this, those of you who are interested in these types of technologies and planes and all that. Let's continue because the subject is not my forte anyway. So, Noe, the biblical character Noe. Robert again here is asking about Noe and whether Athena knows anything about that specific individual, whether he's fake or not fake, or what's the story here. So she's saying, well, it could be another fake, yes, or alteration of a real event to fulfill a narrative. But the truth is that the truth was lost in the sense of time regarding Noe. What is found both here, okay, this is her speaking. What is found both here and on Earth in matters of data turns out to be either theologically tinged, or if the data is from here, it is confused with many people who could have been Noe, as thousands of people tried to save their lives or saved their lives by navigating that way. Many people were trying to survive that time and destruction, flooding of Earth event. As it happens, she continues, as it happens with other biblical characters, they end up being like alter egos of other characters of interest or political position in the time in which that part of the Bible was written, or the previous text on which the Bible was based. This is seen as an example with Moses being Akhenaton, which means golden eye, new dawn. Or like King Solomon, who in reality was the Egyptian king, Pharaoh, according to the Bible. Amenhotep III, which means the sun king again, the new dawn, and so on, all the biblical characters. So it is very difficult, Athena continues, to know what Noe was, if he was real or just a parable of many characters to put together an unreal story, since putting so many animals inside would not save the species unless it was some kind of a metaphor. An ark is a high-tech receptacle to store genetics. You don't need, of course, to store elephants, giraffes, and hippopotamuses in the holds of a ship. Because of the suddenness, I am more inclined to think that they saved their lives by using the boats they already had built, and only the best ones survived. Or it could also be that someone from outside Earth told them to make boats, plural, to save their lives, since from an orbiting spacecraft you can calculate when the free mass of water from a recently destroyed Tiamat would arrive. Quite a logical scenario too. It is not difficult to predict because it is not a future prediction. It is astrophysics, observing the displacement of the parts of Tiamat after it was destroyed. But there is no data to know firmly if that happened or not. There's going to be a very metaphysical and interesting video made in the very near future about history and historical events and how none of that, actually happened as we imagine that it happened. And I'm not going to tell you now more because, I want to save the surprise for that video. But yeah, that video will be coming up sometime soon. about the history and time and all that. Now let's talk briefly about the words "I love you," because some time ago it was said, I don't know, I think Svarovera said that "I love you" in Taygetan is something like "om." Of course, you have to remember this is all just based on what you hear, because those letters in human language, it's not how it's written in Taygetan. So I'm asking Yaski, here Yaski is in the conversation, how do you say I love you? And here she says, in short, ayor anoshni. And I say, well, what about that om that you said, someone said before? Well, she said, yeah, but I haven't seen it like that, because I wrote that in a specific way. And she says, I haven't seen it written like that. But yeah, it does sound like I love you in my perception, but less intense I love you, because there's intensity grades here. And then she says, I don't think that is spelled right though. Perhaps you can spell it like that. And she gives me an example of how it could be spelled. And she also here explains, this is what happens, and all the time, with writing of Taygetan words. She says, there is no fixed way to write words, because we don't use that. We don't even use the linear letters. So it is all by phonetics and by agreement, whether we write something one way and not the other. So it can differ. Like if you ask one Taygetan, how do you write that word? They will give us different writing. It will still sound similar because it's based on what it sounds like, but the writing will be different. Because, for example, in the beginning, very beginning of this contact, when Svarovera was here, we didn't know how to actually say how to write Svarov, so for the public. So in the beginning, those first videos actually have like S apostrophe V A R U. We were writing that differently because we didn't have this agreement with them yet exactly how to write it. Svarov herself wasn't sure what's the best way to write it. And finally, we decided on how it is now. So she says, Taygetan language does not sound like a linear language. You can't write with letters like that, only in a limited way with letters in Taygetan that still include others that Billy Mayer did not give. Because Billy Mayer did provide Taygetan letters, but as they explained, there are more letters still. We have been saying for years that we will give them the full alphabet and letters, but we don't get to give them. There's a Minitopics still pending. Okay, and here I'm asking, what is the difference between ayor ye anoishni and that first phrase that I used, on? And she says, well, I went more towards I love you, like stronger, and not towards I want you, I love you. Those who know Spanish will know what I mean. They have two versions to say I love you, and one is like super romantic, love you, and then there is like I love you between friends. Two different words for that. Going back to, that's Yaski speaking, going back to writing Taygetan with Arabic letters, it is always going to vary unless you write it all in one table. That is why Navajo language was used as a stabilizer. They like Navajo language to homogenize the Taygetan language to something understandable by humans. So that's that on those words, I love you. And the topic came up because actually someone, hello to that someone, I'm not sure who that was, I'm sorry, asked me about how exactly it is spelled because they were making a tattoo of that word. But as you can see here, there's no right way of spelling it because it's not a human expression. Okay, let's continue to the subject of cosmetics. Cosmetics. How do they make cosmetics? Makeup, body creams, exfoliations and all that on the ship. Because here we just go to the store and there's 1,000 different varieties so we can just pick what we want. So what happens there? How do you make cosmetics on the ship? And Yaski here responds, and it's very interesting. That is done with the machine that is in the bathrooms. Everybody has that machine. And for example, makeup. That machine puts the shades of the colors in front of you as a hologram. And you go from there, darkening or lightening it to the tone you like. Of course, there are base tones, but you can alter them, just as you would alter a color in Photoshop. And when you are ready, when you chose and you want it, you go and you print it right there. And it comes out in a little tray, like the compact shadows, our compact shadows, but bigger, separated. And if you don't like it, the same machine alters the existing ones and saves your preference. And every time you open the little tray or a drawer that is right in front of the mirror to one side of the sink, you find that the shadows and powders were auto-filled. Same with eyeliners, lipsticks, and nail polish. And I say, wow, how fun! And what about creams and body lotions, scrubs, and all that? She says, same thing, all that stuff. But I'm asking, what ingredients are the creams made of? Because there are thousands here. And she says, replicated from natural. I think there are more thousands here. And then I'm asking, you designed them by yourself? But if you don't know how, it's easy here. You go to the store and you just get what you want. But there you have to kind of design it yourself. And Yaski explains, you mix natural ingredients that are harmless or beneficial to the skin. Yes, you design them yourself, but from ready-made bases. And I'm saying, but that's hard work. You have to learn what to mix. Here you have everything ready. And Yaski says, well, for example, you feel that a cream is a little bit too greasy. So the printing machine alters that, and without getting rid of the cream itself, because it alters the cream. It doesn't necessarily make a new one. And I'm here insisting, but how do you know which ingredients to choose from the thousands that are out there? And she says, with experience, but the machine itself will guide you. And you will edit from the simplest to the most complex as you see fit. The machine suggests it to you. So that's a good thing, because I wouldn't know. I don't know how to mix this and what to do. But I guess the machine knows your type of skin and your necessities, and maybe it will suggest things to you. And then you go and play with it. Very cool. And here Robert asks about perfumes and colognes and all that, if they use it. And this is a conversation with Annika, a long time ago actually. And she responds, no, we don't have chemical ones. No chemical ones. They are more like essential oils. Robert, and they smell good? Annika says, sure, and they have therapeutic effects and other benefits. Robert, and you use these oils every day? Annika says, generally not, but it depends on the oil. If it is therapeutic, and it depends on what for. They are used more as environmental aroma, or where you spend more time, like on pillows. And Robert says here, so they are not used like here, where people normally do use colognes and perfumes. Annika says, rarely. Yes, they have been used, but that is not very widespread. Okay, that's very nice. I also love essential oils and all that, and diffusers and all that natural cosmetics. So very, very, very cool. And I'm sure especially women probably enjoy this part of the video. Well, the last part of the video, a last question. This came from someone in the English audience, and this is about gamma range of brain waves. And the exact question is, does spending more time consciously in gamma range of brain waves help to expand a personal awareness of high densities, 5D for example? Athena responds, it depends more on what a person is doing while in fast awareness brain activity waves known as gamma. At density and what goes with it at dimension, both interrelate, defining one another. They are awareness levels, levels of complete understanding of reality and how much of it a person or a being can bring into itself and process with mind, body, and soul. You do not live in a density and in a dimension. You are a density and a dimension. It is all in and caused by each person's, each being's level of global awareness. Maybe I missed something in the translation here in the last sentence. I will correct it for the transcript. So she continues, last sentence. So being in gamma helps a lot as you process awareness there faster. But being in it is not enough. You also need all the hard work of thought, dot connecting, independent and sentient reasoning, self-work and awareness, and all that comes with the so-called spiritual work. So from what I understood here is not just being in those waves, but actually what you do and how you mentally engage and spiritually engage while you are exposed to those waves, as it will facilitate that process. So that's my understanding of this here. Well, thank you very much. These are my mini topics for now. I also have another mini topics anecdotes and prepared to be made sometime in the future of different anecdotes of daily happenings and different events on a ship. So that will come a bit later. Now, the next video, I have a dilemma. I'm not sure which video will go first. I have these options. Saturn, continuing with the solar system, Saturn. There's another video about the 5D thinking, a little bit metaphysical, spiritual video from Athena here. Or should I go right away into a new series on navigation, but it's not just going to be navigation, it's going to be 4 videos about inserting objects in the matrix, navigation, ether, mirrors, also sit time explained, sit ship's internal time, more on that topic, portals and teleporting of objects through space, also related to navigation. It's very fascinating information that I haven't shared yet. It's new, it's from a couple of months ago. It's going to be 4 videos, so I might jump right into that, or I might do Saturn before. I'm not sure. Actually, if you want to express your opinion, what you prefer first, you can tell me in the comments. So thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for your support, and I will see you around as usual. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.